So, you know, every once in a while, there is one small piece of gear that just quietly changes the vibe of your entire desk setup without you actually noticing. Well, for me, that has been this. This is the HUANUO Dual Monitor Arm. Now, I've been pretty much using it for well over a month now, and honestly, I really didn't expect a monitor arm to make this much of a difference at my desk setup. So much that I actually decided, why not share this with you guys? Because if I'm being honest, I was actually coming from this cheap monitor arm that I bought from off Amazon that has just been a real eyesore and wasn't the easiest to use either. So I'm gonna actually try and walk you guys through what it has been using this HUANUO Dual Monitor Arm for my stack 2 monitor setup, and I'm gonna share the good, the bad, and whether it's actually worth your desk space. So let's get into it. All right, so firstly, the unboxing experience, I think it's pretty standard for what it is. It felt like opening a piece of furniture rather than a tech accessory. All the parts are wrapped neatly and are well protected. In the box, you also get the 2 arms, a sturdy base clamp, a few hex tools, and a little bag screw for the different visa mounts. Now, one small thing that I actually really liked that they included was the option to grommet mount the arm through your desk, or if you want, you could just clamp it to the edge of your desk. Of course, I went with the option to clamp it to the desk since my desktop is actually a bamboo type desktop and I really wasn't about to drill through it. Now, the parts are all metal, no cheap plastic here, and you can definitely feel the almost industrial and premium weight that it has. At first, laying out all the different parts, I'm not gonna lie, it really looked a little bit intimidating, but honestly, the setup process was pretty simple and straightforward, and that's coming from someone who has built one monitor arm before in his entire life, apart from this one, of course. And I'd say this actually took me maybe 20 to 25 minutes from start to finish. But once I got done with the setup process, all I had to do was to just mount both monitors and adjusted the gas springs to match their individual weight. And this is where the satisfying part comes in. You move the screen and it just stays. No bounce, no drift, and I just kept moving the screens around just because it felt so smooth. And even though the movement is fluid, it actually also has that resistance, which feels a little bit intentional, like it was tuned for persons who, you know, like to move their screens around a lot. And as you can see, you can pretty much set your monitors in almost any position or different variations that you like. Each arm can handle up to a 40-inch display weighing around 26 pounds. So if you're running ultra wides or a dual 27-inch setup like I am, then you're pretty much covered. Now, another plus for this arm is going to be the cable management system. Both arms have hidden channels with snap-on covers. Now, I personally ran my power, my HDMI, and my USB-C cables through them, and nothing's dangling behind my monitors, which is what I like. Down at the base, HUANUO actually included 2 side-facing USB-A ports, which connects via pass-through cable that actually runs to my dock. Now, these aren't powered hubs, they're actually pass-throughs, but it's actually pretty handy and useful for plugging in maybe a drive or for charging earbuds or your keyboard without having to reach behind your desk. I mean, it is a small touch, but I think it's definitely made the setup feel a little bit more integrated. Okay, so here's what stood out to me so far. Essentially, the pros and cons of this monitor arm. Now, I'm going to start with the pros, of course. Now, firstly, the build quality. It's rock solid. It feels premium from top to bottom. Absolutely no issues here. Second thing is that the motion is buttery smooth and perfectly balanced. It holds both my 27-inch monitors in my preferred 2-stack orientation without breaking a sweat. And the third thing is going to be the cable management system. Now, the cable management here on this monitor arm actually works really well, and every monitor arm, in my opinion, should have one. The other kind of semi-pro is the USB ports that's on the base. Now, I think they addition is pretty thoughtful for what it actually does. And I'm sure many of you would actually appreciate it for those of you who need something like that. And the final pro that I can think of, even though I personally haven't tested it myself, it actually handles or can handle big monitors without sagging, which I think is pretty sweet. Now, for the cons, and not necessarily deal breakers, but hey, firstly, it's not the cheapest monitor arm that you can find. You are actually going to be paying for quality here. But personally, I think it's really worth buying a proper monitor arm like this one. And don't be like me and take the cheap route and end up buying a monitor arm twice. The second thing are those USB ports that I spoke about earlier. Now remember, I said those are USB pass-through ports. They are not powered, so don't go expecting to fast charge any of your devices using these ports. Now, thirdly, because the arms are metal, they tend to pick up fingerprints pretty easily. I don't think it's a major deal breaker, but it's still something worth noting. So essentially, if I were to actually change anything about this monitor arm, I'd maybe add powered USB ports and perhaps more color options, white preferably, but really and truly, that's about it. There's not much that I would actually change or add to this monitor arm. Essentially, what I'm saying here is that my overall experience has been pretty solid, pun intended. For me, this is one of those upgrades that you tend to forget about until one day you just sit at your desk and realize how much of an eyesore your desk is. So if you're rocking dual monitors between 27 and 40 inches and you want something that looks professional and stays solid over time, or even if you're thinking about just improving your workspace or building a cleaner setup, then this might be the right move. And the HUANUO Dual Monitor Arm for me is an easy recommendation. Now check the description box below for links to this monitor arm if you guys are interested. I know Black Friday and Cyber Monday is pretty much right around the corner, so this might be the best time, the perfect time to get some great discounts on this monitor arm, so definitely act fast. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. That has been it for this one. Drop your comments or any questions that you might have down below, but I'll catch you guys in the next one.